Now let's join the former governor of Imo State, Senator Rochas Okorocha from Abuja, for discussion on politics and the race for the 2023 election. Thank you for joining us, distinguished Senator Owele Rochas Anayo Okorocha. My people, my people. Distinguished Senator, are you there?
Owele Rochas.
I'm here.
Rocha.
Live and direct.
Our senator,
How are you, my people, my people?
Okay. Let me start by asking you now.
Good to see you again.
With the 2023 presidency, do you think the clamor for a president of Igbo extraction is realizable in this 2023?
Looking at the two big parties.
Dominant parties.
First, let me thank you again for having me, and God bless Nigeria. Let me also emphasize here that I am in this race because of my love and my passion and vision for this great nation called Nigeria. So understand that. And I'm not contesting for president because I'm an Igbo man. I'm contesting for president because I feel I have the capacity to change the ugly narratives about our country. And so this issue of Igbo presidency has been over-dramatized, and it's almost looking like a joke. People have tried to trivialize this clarion call to have a president of Southeast extraction. So it is realizable. That's my first answer to you. It is realizable because justice and equity demands that. But you know, all these steps being taken by different political interest groups trying to douse it and make it look like a non-serious matter. That's why you see a lot of people from different ethnic groups and different tribes and everybody trying to buy the farm. In other words, it will look like, listen, the North is buying, South is buying, Southwest is buying, everybody's buying. So why the emphasis on the Southeast president and all that, Nigerian president of Southeast extraction? So these are all strategies, political strategies to douse it and make it a non-serious matter. But it is realizable for as long as there is somebody from the Southeast who has the capacity and who has the vision to drive the affairs of this nation and make it better, and who is acceptable, and somebody who can unite this nation. I think it is realizable.
Letting the presidency go to the Southeast will be in line with justice and equity. I need you to throw more light on that.
Justice and equity, in this case, means that what is good for A is good for B. If you recall, since our nascent democracy, that no Igbo man or Southeasterner has held the position of the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. If you recall, people have said a lot to you. That is either from President Olusegun Obasanjo of Southwest, to President Yar'Adua of Northwest, to President Jonathan of South-South, to our dear President Muhammad Buhari. And it has been just going from north to south. But now that he goes back to the south, where the Yorubas, Southwest has had 16 years by the end of this tenure of the presidency, and the South-South has had 8 years, and the Southeast never. I mean, that's just an equity. But the core of most important is that this nation was built on a tripod of the Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, and these two arms have a feel of this presidency. I think it's only fair to give the Southeast a sense of belonging. But that is not where I'm coming from as a person. There are quite two different things you're asking. I'm coming there because I think I have the capacity, I have the wherewithal to fix this nation and make it a great country. You know, when the Igbos talk about marginalization and they don't feel like they are part and parcel of this country, I agree with them. Take for instance now, even in the 9 key positions we have in this country, the president, the vice president, the senate president, the speaker of the house, the chief justice of the federation, the secretary of government of the federation, the chairman of the party, the deputy senate president, the deputy speaker, all 9 positions seated. You will not see anybody from Southeast. I mean, that's enough justification that something is wrong. There's no fairness and equity in this case. But I think that will be corrected. I think Nigerians understand what equity and justice means.
Senator, the issue of zoning has become very problematic and thorny in this particular electoral cycle. Why do you think the 2 major parties are shying away from zoning the presidential tickets to the south as expected, based on convention?
I can't get it. Why is it the south?
The 2 dominant parties, why are they shying away from zoning the presidency? Just like they've done in the when it's now the turn of use the president.
Well, I can't tell, but let me be honest to you. What I can deduce from the current political situation, the APC is thinking that the PDP will produce a candidate from the north. For that reason also, they need to produce a candidate from the north. And that's why they've been very silent about that. But that doesn't add up at all. I think it's a political miscalculation in this case, because Nigerians have gone beyond their tribal sentiments and to the issue of the hunger that and the poverty and insecurity that ravage our nation. So that calculation is not absolutely correct and right, and I think that's what is happening. And that's why you see so many aspirants are coming up. Most of these aspirants coming up are not really going to run for president, and some of them want to negotiate for vice president, and some of them want to negotiate for key positions. So on that day, you might see a lot of presidential aspirants stepping down, falling on each other, to have, so to say, candidates to run the election. This is what we're going to see manifest as time goes by, and you might likely see that at the end of it all, you're going to have, unquote, a presidential candidate, aspirant that's supported by the government, and you have a presidential aspirant that is supported by the Nigerians, and you have another presidential group of presidential aspirants that feel that they can bulldoze their way with the powers they have. This is the scenario that's likely to appear. But let's watch as things, politics unfold. But this time around, I think Nigerians are getting wiser to understand that they have to speak for themselves now, because in the past, leaders have directed them and they have not gained much from it. So I think Nigerians are willing to look at things differently this time around.
Like a follow-up to that is, what's going to be the implication of this indecision on zoning by the APC and PDP?
What's the implication of
if I understand your question.
Yes, what's the implication of this delay in taking a definitive decision?
Taking a stand on zoning.
Well, that shows that a lot of interest is at play. So many small pocket of group of interests is coming up now. And there's no holistic arrangement, because there's so many divisions. Like in APC, you have different patches of interest, unlike before. You have maybe 2, but now there are several of them, over 10 interest groups, and each one trying to bring about the government of the day in 2023. So that's what's leading to this indecision. But eventually, it might look like if what I said before does not apply, then you might see a situation where it will be to attend to Israel. Everybody will go to the field and contest, and that might be the best thing that will happen to the democracy of Nigeria.
Now, in the last 1.5 weeks, we have seen a host of individuals going to buy the expression of interest and nomination forms of the APC. It costs 100 million, but these individuals are going to pick these forms, and they are, at the last count, they are already more than 25. Do you see this as a positive development? How do you view? Were you expecting something like this? You've been involved in presidential primaries before. Does it not shock you that there are so many people this time around wanting to contest for the presidential ticket of the APC?
Okay, let me give you the proper scenario. Maybe this can help our communication. One, they'll have 3 categories of aspirants. 70% of the aspirants are those who believe that they can be anointed by the presidency. Now, this is why numerous of them. You have them coming from southwest, southeast, the north, everywhere. And some of them are within this group are also saying, listen, if I don't make the presidency will either anoint me for vice president or president. So that's why you have a barrage of people buying forms, and these people are not even, they are not considered an aspirant, so to say. They only become an aspirant when the presidency makes a pronouncement on them. So you don't see them talking to anybody or doing anything that shows they want to run for election, except TV appearances, and that's it. That's one group of aspirants. Now, the other group of aspirants is aspirants who believe that they have wherewithal, what it takes to bulldoze their campaign, irrespective of the presidential directive. They're going to get this thing done to the end. This is another set of aspirants, and what engineers this group of people is the money in the bank and the financial powers they control, not necessarily the popularity they enjoy. Then you have another group of aspirants who are the darling of the masses, darling of the people, who are believing that the people will give them the power. So here you have 3 people. One, the presidency will give them the power. Another people, their money will give them the power. The third group, that the masses of people of Nigeria will give them the power. This is the 3 categories of people that you see. And that's what we see playing out right now in this the dispensation. And so for the people that are waiting for the presidency, the moment the presidency announced one person, all of them will collapse into that person, hoping to either get vice president or get a political appointment thereafter. And the other group of people who think their money will go for it and put so much stake, they want to see their money worth at the end of it all. And also the people who believe that the masses can support them will also take it to the end. So you see, that's what you're going to see going to play out in the final analysis.
Now, where do you stand in all of this? How confident are you that you can win the presidency or even put up a good showing?
So, you know what's my strength? And outside my belief in the people of Nigeria is that I believe that power belongs to God and power belongs to the people. This is just my driving force. And if Nigerians are expected to cast their vote the way they feel, I don't have any competitor in this case. And I'm being honest to you. And that is exemplified from the fact of what you see. That I believe that eventually the people of Nigeria will speak in this matter. This is where I think I have my strength. And when that happens, then you see democracy at play. So that's my strength. And I've been in this thing, like you said before. I have run for election. I've run for presidency under MPP, under PDP, and under APC, and I've made a good outing in this. So I'm not a new name in Nigerian politics. And there's hardly no nook and cranny of this country you go and mention Rochas, Okorocha, that people have not formed the opinion about my person. And I think my track record is what is above all my greatest strength of it all. People can easily trace what I've done in the education sector. People have seen what I have done in making estates. People can see what I've done in the legislative arm of government. So Nigerians already have made up their mind and understand who I am and what I represent. And that is my confidence.
Senator, there's disunity in so many chapters of the party across the states, including your own state of Imo State. Do you think this will not affect the party going forward?
Now come again, I can handle it. That is, if I do what?
I said that a lot of disunity in various state chapters of APC, including that of Imo State. Do you think this will not affect the party going forward?
No, I don't think it will affect the party. Eventually, the party will produce a candidate. And it depends on who is the candidate of the party and whether such a candidate of the party can face the PDP candidate. That's what is important. And after the candidate emerges, it's no longer about the party, it's about the candidate. And this is what is very important at this point that we should discuss. Otito Joe and their group and all of you, my friends, my friends up there. You see, there's nothing that we are talking about now in this presidential campaign that we have spoken about 20 years ago, even beyond 20 years, the time of Shagari to this day. It's been the same campaign slogan, the same issue of insecurity, the same issue of hunger, unemployment, youth restiveness. So it has become part of our national anthem. And this is what everybody has said. So nobody says something different. So you have what I call a textbook and academic aspirants who just present an academic papers for discussion. And I see how you, the journalists, chew it and take it in and take it to bamboozle the society without actually finding solution. I don't think that matters. What Nigeria are asking for now is that we are sick. We have a problem. We need a doctor that can fix our health. We need somebody that can solve the problem of this country. That is what is paramount in the minds of Nigerians now, more importantly than anything else. And so until we understand the problem facing this country, you can't find solution. Because I hear my folks and other people speaking about the problem of this country, and some of them come up and say, look, I'm going to increase more number of security men, I'm going to fight insurgents, I'm going to change power to 100 megawatts, I'm going to do, they speak all kinds of things that gives me headache when I listen to you guys on television. Can everybody, for God's sake, for once, keep quiet? And let us address the problem of this country, because we're getting tired. There's nothing any of them is saying now that we didn't say years back. GDP is poor, unemployment is high, inflation is high, poverty is high. We're the terrorist country of the world. What is the solution? I mean, this is why I come in. I come in. Because nobody, I've listened to 90% of the aspirants. Nobody has convinced me that they have solution. And if I see anyone, then I have no reason to be in this competition. Nobody seems to address that matter. But rather we're talking about political parties and zoning and 100 million and what. This is what occupies the television everywhere. Otito Joe and my friends out there, can you, for God's sake, begin to address the issue that is facing this country, which are three basic things, and remain there for God's sake, and find somebody who has the necessary qualification, with track records, and who has an antecedent that he can do this. Because it is easier said to say, I will, I will. Look at all the slogan, I will do this, I will do this. Can they keep quiet? Tell us what you have done before. I mean, this is my anger, my grouse with them. And everybody's been deceived. How many times have I had I will in this nation and we're still suffering? What is the solution? Take for instance, I challenge you gentlemen, if I say that the problem of this country is unity of this country and Rochas culture will fix the unity of this country and make us one nation, you agree with me? Because I've dramatized it. Through my foundation, I've reached out to the north, to the southwest, to everybody. That shows that we are united. Rochas is uniting Nigeria through education. How about that? Let every aspirant say to you what he has done in the past to unite this country. Number two, I mean, that's it. If today we have 14.5 million children out of school, which means in the next 15 years, we'll have about 14.5 million likely Boko Harams. Imagine. And coming up. And you're telling me you're going to fight insecurity where you have not closed the source of insecurity. But if I say to you, I will make education free, believe me. Because if any aspirant says I will make education free, check in his hometown how many children or how many of his neighbors' kids has he ever put to school. And now you want to give education to the whole nation free when you have never in your history given any single person free education outside your children. But here am I with over 25,000 children, over 5,000 Yorubas, over 10,000 Fulanis, over 10,000 Igbos. I'm still counting free education. So Nigeria should believe me. Precisely what I mean by track record. If you say you need a leader who has compassionate heart, that's the three things. Who among them has compassion for this nation? You see, you make a mistake to think that political power will change anybody. It doesn't change you. Presidency can't change who you are. If you're a wicked man before you become president, you become presidential wicked man. If you're a criminal, before you become president or governor, you become excellency criminal. If you have a poverty of mind, you become excellency poverty. You can't give what you don't have. In law, we say you can't give what you don't have. So begin to check your candidates, aspirants, from their track record quickly to help this nation. Television stations, am I communicating? Yeah. Hear me and hear me out. Because you guys on the line of deceiving Nigerians, once more again, that will get us back to the same singing of songs of failure in our nation without any remedy. How many of you understand that the problem of Nigeria is not insecurity, is not all things that you mentioned? These are the symptoms of the disease. The problem you have in your country is that you don't have adequate wealth. You can't create wealth to meet up with the rising population of your country. Take, for instance, in New York, a city of New York, with 8 million people are boasting of $101 billion budget, 8 million. Nigeria with 206 million people are talking about budget of $29 billion. Now, our ID budget is supposed to be $2 trillion compared to our population. That is why you see every past government looks like it's better than the other government. Now, we celebrated Basenjo when Jonathan came in. We celebrate, Yaradua came in. We celebrate Jonathan, Yaradua when Jonathan came in. Now we're celebrating Jonathan when Buhari came in. And now we're going to celebrate Buhari the highest when another president came in, because there are insufficient funds. Excuse me, get somebody who can create wealth. I have only one point agenda, gentlemen, is to create wealth for this nation, and I can do it. And how do you know who can create wealth? Check the president. Go and check our conduct bureau list and see how many people became something before they came to government. Rochas is Rochas before government. But most of these aspirants are product of government who make money from government and want to go back to government and buy people in government and come back to government. This it doesn't help us. So I want us to be changing our questions to finding solutions. This country is sick. It needs a doctor with the requisite knowledge and track record to heal the nation of his wounds. Economic wounds, you have to say.
Oh, fair enough, Senator. Fair enough. No matter how determined you are to create wealth and make good things happen to the Nigerian people, if the current spate of insecurity is not addressed and arrested, you are going to get frustrated because people won't be able to go to the farms and hunger will stalk the land.
You won't be able to bring
children would not be able to go to school because of the risk of being kidnapped and all that. And you are talking about out-of-school children being a problem that bothers you so much. How do you intend, as President of Nigeria, to solve this security problem that has moved to the forefront of the problems bedeviling our country? What will you do differently? That is the question.
Now I tell you, Shehu, now I'm happy you're coming to this area. That's what you should be asking people. One, I want to let you know that there are what is called short-term measures and long-term measures. In fact, long-term measures is to address the issue of out-of-school children now and encourage the productive sector of our economy to engage the youth from being restive and being jobless. That is one, and I will tell you how to do that. Very simple and straightforward. That must be done. But on the immediate of what we're doing, we have to change our style. And to change the style, it means that we have to as quickly as possible empower the communities to become a government of their own, what I did in Imo State, that helped me check crimes, by having what is called Community Government Council. Let me tell you, if all the money spent by federal government were judiciously used to address insecurity, we cannot be talking about Boko Haram today. Most of these funds released for insecurity in this country, but the moment it starts its journey from Abuja, before it gets to Sambisa Forest, 95% of that fund has developed HIV and died, and only 5% goes into fight for insecurity. Is that what you want to do? What if we're serious about these insurgents, we should empower the communities and bring military to support them. It's not so funny to hear that less than 200,000 men or even 10,000 men, we don't even know the number of Boko Haram people here, maybe 20,000, is chasing the whole 200 million people away. Don't you think something is wrong? There's more of insider fight than outsider fight. And once security has become a commercial venture, it becomes a kidnapping syndicate. Because, once you know if you kidnap somebody, money must come out, then kidnapping will not stop. Once you know that federal government will bring more money and bring equipment, the moment they announce Boko Haram has shot somewhere, it will not stop. I mean, don't you think this is Shehu? Now, as a senator, at least I'm aware that trillions of naira has been budgeted since I started as senator to fight crime. If that money is given to the Boko Haram people, they will stop. If we had a way of transferring the money we budgeted to Boko Haram and say we'll settle you, they will go home and never fight again for life. So it's the chain of communication, it's the long chain of what you call a self-seeking listing and benefit that is maintaining, keeping this on. That's what I mean by short-term measures. But long-term measure is to address the issue of poverty, address the issue of youth restiveness, and engage our youth in the productive sector of our economy. That will solve the problem. But no amount of ammunition and equipment and bomber jet you bring to this country that will stop this Boko Haram, because it has become business for some people. This is why the generating set suppliers will never make NEPA work. We must understand this. So display of aircraft and bomber jet will not stop this. In fact, sometimes the money in buying the bomber jet, if you give it to Boko Haram and say don't operate for 100 years, they will stop. Because they are looking for money. Am I communicating? What don't you?
In tackling insecurity, senators, still on insecurity, a lot of people, they've agitated that, look, this central command system that we are practicing is not working. And they've called for state policing that across the country that, look, there have been agitation, but your party in the last 8 years, they've not addressed this issue of state police. What is your own point of view about state policing in this country?
Excuse me, simply put, every crime is local. Every insecurity is local. The insecurity does not happen in every part of this nation at the same time. If it's happening, even if they say it's happening in Zamfara, it's a village in Zamfara. Everything is local, and you must follow the local method to address it. There's nothing better than community policing, not state police. There's difference between state police and community policing. So you cannot say that the federal police and the state police are two different things. It's also central command. What does it take to let us know how many communities we have in this country, how many traditional rulers we have in this country, and post a DSP or an AC to a community with some few policemen with the traditional rulers and say, look, make sure every security here is checked because you know whoever comes to your community. This will stop with immediate effect. But the people who enjoy the long chain of bureaucratic bottleneck and enjoy the dividend of whatever they get don't want this thing to work. So the best policing is community policing because crime does not happen in a state, it happens in communities. And just a few minutes ago, I was even referring to Shewun. It was what I was discussing with Shewun a few days ago in Channel. The same thing I was saying. So, gentlemen, we don't have problem. Our problem is that we don't even know our problems. What does it take, really? Why is we making this insecurity a big deal? Making money for contractors, making money for people who want to make money out of people's life.
That has not solved the problem. Are we journalists the one making
well, I'm just saying it's not a big deal for as long as we understand the simple thing. No, what I'm saying because if you have applied solution into this, let me tell you, do you know every family here in Nigeria is secured by themselves? Do you know every family knows how to secure themselves? So becoming at a community level, it is more effective. So I prefer community policing. And I prefer CPC. A CPC, Crime Prevention Commission, must be established rather than crime fighting. You know, Nigerians like to fight crime rather than prevent the crime. These are two different things. I'm coming to prevent it from further happening. We like fighting. We can't prevent anything until it happens. And fighting is more expensive than prevention.
Okay, let's talk about the insecurity in the southeast, especially Anambra and Imo states. This has become kind of intractable. I'm talking about the activities of these unknown gunmen.
What can we do? Is this how we are going to just be watching these killings go on?
Well, I tell you what's happening in the southeast. The question you should have asked me is that what did I do during my time, 8 years in office, that you had absolute peace? What was different from Imo State of then and the Imo State of now? What's the difference? Tell me. It's handling. What is the difference? So, and you know, when I say you can't give what you don't have, people don't understand what I mean by that. There's somebody who can be in Imo State today and this will stop. Anytime something is happening in a state or a nation, local government or family, hold the leadership responsible, period. There's no other way to say that. And we know what I don't like about our leaders in this country is that when they are seeking for political power, be it a local government or state or federal government, and they will tell you, look, I will do this. The moment they step in 6 months after, they start blaming the system. If you don't know that you can solve it, why do you come? Because leadership means ability to solve any problem that comes your way in the place of governance. That's what leadership is all about. So take responsibility.
So are you saying we should hold Governor Hope Uzodinma responsible for
the escalation of violence in Imo State?
Wherever we see.
Senator, are you saying we should hold Governor Hope Uzodinma responsible since he has not been able to solve the problem?
I said hold the leadership responsible at whatever level they find themselves where insecurity exists, period. There's no way. Who are you going to hold responsible? Are you going to hold the voters responsible? One of your duties is protection of lives and property. You swear to it, you sign to it, you agree to it. You can't transfer the blame.
The governor has several times even accused you
it's simple.
of fueling insecurity
but there
in
was
the state.
Something now. If I'm accused and the governor is not able to check me, then he has failed. Assuming it is true. So there's no excuse for failure in governance. People in Nigeria must stop shifting blames. Take responsibility. The first thing I will do as we are president of this country is that I say I will take responsibility. And I will be in charge. Very important. Last time in my declaration for president, I said that, look, I want to be your captain. And people didn't understand. I said, I will take this aircraft. There may be turbulence, but no, I'll be in charge. You see, any leader that is not in charge is not qualified to be a leader. No matter what it is, take responsibility. And stop shifting blame. Until we stop shifting blame in this country, then we can't get it right. This is my understanding, and I'm speaking with passion how I feel, because you know, there's need for you guys to come one day and sit all your presidential aspirants down and tell them, how can you solve the problem of Nigeria? Not I will. How will you do that? I'm sure 90% will resign from this contest.
Senator, you spoke earlier about the creation of wealth as the bedrock of the economy that will drive Nigeria forward. You are a governor for 8 years and a senator for 4 years. Can you tell us what you did in Imo? Because 8 years of your stewardship in Imo, has it created just positional wealth or generational wealth? Because the level of insecurity in the East is also driven by the level of poverty in those areas, especially Imo State.
It's out of.
You are a governor for 8 years.
I can't hear you.
And you are talking about creation of wealth. The
Okay,
difference between creating wealth is the one for positional wealth and generational wealth. But so far, one of the things driving insecurity in Imo State is said to be the poverty parading the state. How do you explain that?
Now, let me tell you, you are not absolutely right when you say poverty, because the poverty level in Imo State is nothing compared to most parts of the country. It's not absolute. So communication is number one. And I give you an example. There's no difference between a nation, a state, and a family. It's the same. It's ability to manage. If you have a family, say of 8, as it is common in Nigeria or Africa, and you have only 10,000 naira to feed your 8 members of family, and you know it's not enough, what you do, and the wife has to go to market, and she's asking for 20,000, and you say, my wife, here is 10,000 naira, you must call your children and add a sweet word of 10,000 naira with love to show understanding. When you make your problem the people's problem, they sympathize with you. But when you are the Lord unto yourself, and you think that you are the final authority, there's no need for communication, you have problems. So it's not different. Communication is key in this country. There's a gap between the governed and the governed, and the people do not understand what government is doing. Who told you that people are irresponsible and unreasonable if you communicate them to understand? Who has communicated to Nigerians to understand? Nigerians are wonderful people. They understand. But communicate to them. So that's on one question. But asking me what I did, a whole lot. And I say to you, boisterously in the mood that I feel, to drive the point home, I've spoken this more than 50 times on television. What I have done in Imo State and my achievement is second to none since the creation of that state. And I even make boast to say, put together administrations of most of the governors, and most apart from Mbakwe. Today I speak, may so rest in peace. Because he governed Abia and Imo. Compare is not, I built more roads than all the government put together. I built more hospitals, more schools, more infrastructures. I changed the landscape of Owerri. I engaged the youth. Youth Must Work was my project. And all the youths were engaged. I engaged them that on Hijagbema youth brought in so many AK-47 back to me in exchange for a token of good words, and engaging them to work for the state. 25,000 youths get involved. Listen, if you don't get the youths involved with their energy, they must either dispense it positively or negatively. And what we are seeing is the negative dispense of energy by the youth of Nigeria. That's what is called criminality. So you must engage them. So I created so much wealth in Imo State. Land was 500,000 Owerri when I came to Imo State. Before I left, it rose to 80 million to 100 million. That was wealth. And I saw land as assets set aside for creation of further wealth. I mean, it's just the mentality of the people. Nobody even knows that this land will have is a lot of wealth. You go to some state capitals today, land is still 300,000, 1 million naira. Why? Because nobody has seen land as an asset. Imo became the fastest growing city in Owerri during my time. In addition, that there was a free education in Imo State for 8 years, and our jam prices were highest in the country. And we have so many structures, from cargo airport to international conference center to prison headquarters to police headquarters to the high court to even the free education alone was a major thing.
Distinguished Senator, before we wrap up, finally our time is fast spent. Let me ask you
without owing bank. So how about that?
On the final note, let me ask you about the agitation for this Biafra agitation, and a lot of our brothers in the East, they feel that, look, because of the way they've been treated, that they've not had the kind of fair share of, you know, the, I won't say cookie jar, the national cake, the national cake, that this agitation for Biafra is festering, and it has been like that for some time. How do you address this if you become the president?
I'm happy you said the word agitation. Anytime the word agitation comes, a round table is required. Anytime agitation comes, you must have a round table. I handled Imo State for 8 years. This agitation was at its peak, to the extent that I got personal insult from these children calling me Okorocha, and that my father and my mother were Fulanis, and they were going to kill my father, who was already dead. I had such threats. I didn't raise arms. I didn't invite military to come and shoot them and police. In fact, I had a Security Council meeting where I instructed that no army, no policeman should take any arm against these children. Let's engage them. First and foremost, understand that the word agitation can come from either from a genuine source or not knowing what is happening. But you need to engage the people. Lack of engagement is what we are suffering today. That's what it is. Because I engaged them and I talked to them. From time, I made them citizens. If I didn't engage them, I wouldn't have brought me about 47 AK-47 from these youths and brought back all the people from Ohajegbema who went on exile back home, all traditional rulers. Because I engaged them. I remember my wife even going there to conduct a prayer session with them. These are human beings. Communication is very key. But where you cannot communicate and think arms will solve the problem, then you have to go with the arms situation. But the only place I am not agreeing is the fact that you say this beautiful country called Nigeria with population that we can all enjoy the prosperity this country has given us, that I should leave Nigeria. That's why I don't agree. But agitation should go on. After all, every part of this country agitates. Everybody's agitating.
Thank you.
But you see, handling, I say it again, handling and methodology.
Thank you, and I wish you the best of luck ahead of your presidential primaries at the end of this month. Thank you, distinguished Senator Rochas Okorocha.
I wish you had me again. I wish you had me again to discuss more on this nation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Certainly, we'll be able to speak with you again.
Jide, GKB. Trust Willie and Rochas Okorocha.
Yes, he's always on top of his game. He's one of the genuine orators around, and it's a good interview material any day.
GKB, tell me fast friend.
The moment he said that his contestants in Nigeria made the day. Because that's what we need more of that. People who truly just want to be Nigerian president.
Yes.
Not threatening the system.
Nigerians first and foremost.
Yes.
That is very rare in these parts.
I want to thank you, Osiare Gani Kairi Balogun.
Always a pleasure.
And Jide, we expect to have more of this.
Yes.
We expect to have more.
We are setting machinery in motion.
Yes, ahead of the primary election, even after the primary election.
Especially after.
We are going to have them.
I also want to announce to our viewers that we are going to have a program within a program. on Journalist Hangout on Sundays, a part of it dedicated to the 2023 elections. It's going to be like that right up to the time of the election. So part of the Sunday edition of Journalist Hangout will be focused on the politics of 2023.
Yes. 2 hours.
Yes, that's
part of the
2 hours. Journalist Hangouts on Sunday. All right, my producer is tempting me to announce our guest tomorrow. But
yes. Dr. Chris Ngige, the Minister of Labor and Employment, will be with us by God's grace tomorrow.
And he has also thrown his hat in the ring.
Yes, he has a lot to talk about tomorrow. The ASU strike.
The ASU strike and his ambition.
His desire to rule Nigeria.
All right, tomorrow, keep it the date, 5 p.m. on Journalist Hangout. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. And don't forget to join us every Sunday for Journalist Hangout on Sunday, 3:30 to 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubaku. God bless Nigeria.